Naruto has eaten more ramen than anyone alive, real or fictional. Every episode, every shop, every bowl, he was on to something. The wellness industry is selling you collagen supplements, bone broth packets, gelatin capsules. People are paying $15, $20, $30 a unit for what Japanese ramen shops have been putting in a bowl of ramen for under $10 for a century. The difference is they knew what they were doing. They just didn't call it wellness. They called it tonkotsu. Here's what's actually in that broth. Hit that like, take a bite, and let's slurp our way through the science. Hitokuchi dake. Here's something Japan is very, very good at. Taking someone else's idea, disappearing with it for a century, and returning it so transformed, so refined, so obsessively improved that the original country barely recognizes it. Now, ramen came from China around the late 1800s. Wheat noodles and broth, humble, simple, unremarkable. Japan took one look at it and got to work. 1 century of illegal molecular surgery later, basement shops across Tokyo are still running the experiment. Chefs treating a pot of broth like a classified operation, taking temperature readings at 3 a.m., keeping notebooks, still not satisfied. 4 broths, 4 completely different heists. Shoyu, clear, amber, looks innocent. It isn't. That depth is the Maillard reaction. Amino acids and sugars colliding at high heat, producing hundreds of flavor compounds at once. Same reaction that browns your steak. Same one that makes coffee smell like salvation. In shoyu broth, it builds slowly, over hours, in a pot nobody dares walk away from. Miso, koji fermented soybean paste dissolved into broth. Glutamates amplifying everything in range. The fermentation files have been building to this bowl since episode 1. Shio, the oldest, the most ruthless, salt-based, no safety net, nowhere to hide. Salt concentration here isn't seasoning. It's architecture. Too little and the broth collapses. Too much and it's over. A shio broth done right tastes like the ocean made a decision and never looked back. Tonkotsu. This is where things get violent. Tonkotsu is the white one. Cloudy, rich, lip coating. That milky color isn't added. It's forged. Pork bones, violent rolling boil. 12 hours minimum. No mercy, no lid, no shortcuts. 2 things happen simultaneously. Collagen breaks down into gelatin, that sticky lip coating richness you keep thinking about hours later. That's dissolved bone. You're eating time. And the boiling physically smashes fat droplets into microscopic particles, forcing them to suspend in the water. Fat and water don't mix, except when sustained heat and dissolved proteins strong-arm them into it. Those suspended particles scatter light. That's why the broth is white. Not milk, not cream. Physics. A gentle simmer gives you a clear broth. A violent rolling boil gives you tonkotsu. Temperature isn't just a dial, it's the whole operation. And the noodles are not pasta, not even close. Regular pasta uses water. Ramen noodles use kansui, alkaline water that rewires gluten structure, making the noodles springier, firmer, engineered to survive the broth without surrendering. The same alkalinity reacts with the wheat's natural flavonoids. That's why ramen noodles are yellow. Not egg, not dye. Chemistry, hiding in plain sight since the first bowl. The word ramen, written in kanji, literally means pulled noodles. The first character means to pull or stretch. The second means noodle. It's a reference to the original Chinese hand-pulled technique that started all of this. Most Japanese people have never seen that first kanji written out. They don't even know the meaning, or they've never thought about it. Ramen is almost always in katakana. The origin is hiding in a character nobody uses anymore. Now here's what nobody sees coming. You can't make real tonkotsu at home. It's not a skill problem, it's a physics problem. Your stove outputs roughly 1/4 of the BTUs of a Japanese ramen shop burner. You can't sustain the violent boil long enough. The chemistry requires the temperature requires the machine. That gap between restaurant ramen and home ramen? Not talent, thermodynamics. So China handed Japan a humble bowl of noodles. Japan treated it like an unsolved case that needed cracking and never stopped. One bowl, hundreds of compounds, built through Maillard reactions, collagen breakdown, fat emulsification, and alkaline chemistry. Refined over a century by people who consider good enough an insult. So next time you're waiting in line for ramen, and the wait is long and the shop is small, and the chef looks like they haven't slept, you're about to eat 12 hours of someone's obsession. Dissolved bone, suspended fat, chemistry that took a century to dial in. That's not fast food. So what's your favorite ramen? Shoyu, miso, shio, or tonkotsu? Drop it below. I read every comment. And the molecule doing the heaviest lifting in almost every single bowl? You've already met it. Quietly manufacturing glutamate in that miso tare, in that shoyu base, in every fermented drop of flavor this series has touched. Its file is already open, link in the description.